Why is money so hard to talk about? And how do you even begin to improve your relationship with money?
It's so hard to discuss because finances are a lot more emotional than we'd care to admit. There are a lot of reasons of why some of us spend like crazy, while others are in a constant state of saving or panicking if they have enough money. Currently, 77% of Americans are battling their own spending habits and are in debt. Even though this many people struggle with money, it's still a taboo topic. My question is, how will you ever improve your finances if you don't research financial advice or want to talk about it? Whether we want to admit it or not, to live in the modern world, we have to have a relationship with money. It's a hard topic. It's an uncomfortable topic because it involves difficult questions. Sometimes it's even trying to understand the psychology around money, which is a book I'm reading right now. If you're interested in finances, I would definitely check that out. While I might not have a blueprint of how you should rethink your specific finances, I have really improved mine through a lot of trial and error. But before we get into improving your relationship with money, I want to say welcome to my channel. I'm Jen, and I talk about all things lifestyle, finances, career, and if you're interested in any of those topics, then like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. In my life, my 20s has been a complete experiment to understand how to change my spending habits. From age 18 to 25, I really prioritized traveling and experiences a lot more than saving or investing. While it was fun, there was also so much unnecessary stress surrounding that period. I was trapped in a cycle of earning money and immediately spending it. And anytime there was even a mild emergency, I would panic and then be fixated on how to solve the problem as fast as possible. And when you're living in that vicious cycle, it doesn't feel like a priority to take a step back and properly reevaluate on how to get yourself out, because you're too busy putting out fires. Of course, I wanted things to be less stressful, but the intention to do something is a lot different than actually making a change. It took a lot of effort to break old patterns and rethink money. But eventually, after a lot of trial and error, it got to a point where I created a budget, I created an emergency fund, and for once, I felt in control of my finances. So if you're at that spot where you're wanting to have a better relationship with money, I broke down some of the learnings I've had in the last 3 years, and some tips on how to get started on your own journey of improving your financial state. Just earning more money won't solve your problems. I went from working very low-paying roles. I was a writer, a barista, I even worked at hostels while backpacking, to working in tech as a product designer. Naively, I thought that earning a higher amount of money would just make all my financial problems disappear. This is not true because of lifestyle creep. As you earn more money, you naturally start spending more money, especially if you aren't aware of your spending habits. Yes, earning more was nice, but suddenly I was buying things I never needed, wanting to go on trips, and I just wanted to prove to myself through material items that I really was successful. And I guess I'm not alone in this attitude. According to Time magazine in December of 2022, 51% of people who earn more than $100,000 reported living paycheck to paycheck in the United States. Luckily for my bank account, within 6 months of my current job, I put a hard stop to all extra spending and I created a pretty strict budget. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. If you've never heard that saying, it means to use the people around you as a benchmark of how much stuff you should have. While I have zero issues with people doing things they enjoy or spending money, I would just encourage people to really take a step back before financially committing to something and realize why they are actually doing it. Honestly, ask yourself, is this a want or a need? Do I want this just so the people around me perceive me in a certain way? Or am I doing this to validate myself? And what would my life be like if I didn't do this? If you cannot find a compelling reason of why you should do or buy something, then you probably shouldn't buy that, especially if it's going to add a lot of financial stress to your life. This brings me into my next learning: value versus stress. If you find yourself at a crossroads and you're trying to figure out what to do, for example, you want to go on a vacation, but you're unsure if you should, the question you should ask yourself is, will this bring me financial value or stress? For 6 months after, will I be living paycheck to paycheck to make up for that 1 week of fun? Or can I go and still have a comfortable amount in my bank account left? On the flip side, if something is expensive like a laptop and you're unsure if you need it, you can consider, will it help you work better and earn more money? Is this an investment? The saying is, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. And while this doesn't really apply to large purchases like a car or a home, it's not a bad way to help filter out smaller financial decisions. Understand the season of life you're in. Nothing is good to do in extreme, and this is true for saving and for spending. If you are so obsessive about every single cent, you'll miss out on doing things that actually bring you joy. And if you spend like crazy, you'll have so much stress surrounding your debt. Some seasons are for learning, others are for building wealth, maintaining your investments, or purely enjoying life. Not everyone will be on the same timeline, but if you don't have your dream car or dream house or dream lifestyle, that's okay. No one is expecting you to have absolutely everything figured out. What matters is that you're trying and you're learning from your mistakes. Now that I've talked about some of the things I've learned in the last 3 years, I'm going to get into some of the more actionable tips that I would consider doing if you are serious about improving your finances. Live within your means. Even though my dad told me this over and over while growing up, it took me a long time to realize how important this advice was. Keeping your fixed costs low is so important because we often think that making more money is the only way to have financial freedom. But a lot of the time, it's people who don't have many fixed expenses of rent, a mortgage, or car payments that generally have a lot more financial flexibility. Of course, homes can be an investment, but I'm speaking more generally here. Set a budget and stick to it. It's one thing to want something, but it's another thing to actually follow through with it. If you sit down and you make a budget, make a conscious effort to stick to it, even if it will be hard. If you spend way too much eating out, commit to meal prepping or planning your time better. If you're spending too much on entertainment, reevaluate your hobbies and do things that bring you joy, but just aren't huge financial commitments. Go biking, play tennis, hike around parks, have movie nights with friends. There are so many ways to rethink your life. Budget for fun. Budgeting can be compared to dieting. The reason so many diets fail is because they are really extreme and completely unsustainable. If you are saving so obsessively and never allowing yourself to spend on anything, you're most likely going to cheat on your budget. Give yourself some money every week to do things that you really enjoy. You might be surprised to find you'll actually appreciate the small things like going out for coffee if it's a special occasion instead of an everyday expectation. Prioritize saving. There's this YouTuber I watch, Caleb Hammer, who does financial audits of people, and the thing he constantly tells his audience is not having an emergency fund is an emergency. And it's true. I've been in that situation, and it's unrealistic to think that nothing will ever come up. Because when it does, and if you don't have money available, it can really make your life difficult. The amount to save varies, but it's recommended to have between 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up just in case.
The truth is, all of us have very different financial goals, and what works for some people won't work for others. What really matters is that you are just really honest with yourself on what you actually want from life, what you do want to spend money on, and what you value. If you kind of figure that out, it will make a lot more sense what to budget for and how to even try to have a better financial relationship with your money. The other big thing is never beat yourself up if things aren't going perfectly. Saving is not going to be a linear line. There's going to be a lot of highs and lows. There's going to be unexpected expenses, and we're human. You're not going to be perfect, but just keep trying, and with time, I promise that you'll get better. That is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.